And this one is a competitive game where players are going to be moving through Europe trying to gain the most influence in order to win the game. Players start with one location under their control, but then each player is going to have their own personal player board where they're going to be keeping track of their 3 different levels of followers, which they'll be deploying and moving around on the board in order to gain influence and control. But these units can also be upgraded with various actions because you do need certain units to perform various actions in the game. So you'll be moving them from the different types of followers so that you can be able to perform those various actions. Each round in this game is represented by a single year, which is broken down into 4 different seasons. Each season, players will be choosing 2 actions to perform, but then players will be using all of their actions through an entire year because these actions are provided through action tokens. And every time that you choose your 2 actions for a season, you're actually going to be putting them into a bag with all the other players' actions as well as some different event tokens that can be drawn as well. And when those are drawn, you're going to be drawing an event card and following the effects. But the neat thing about this is that there isn't any player order because players are just going to get their actions whenever their token is drawn from the bag, in whichever order those tokens are drawn. But these tiles allow for all sorts of different actions like leveling up your followers, moving followers from one country to an adjacent country, or even deploying followers from your personal board out onto the main board by assigning them to these cards that will be appearing around the perimeter of the board. And once that card reaches the limit of followers that it can hold, then all the followers on that card are going to be put on the associated country. Players also have action tiles that allow them to develop on areas that they control, which will help them feed their followers if there is a hunger event. And then there is also an action that helps you remove rebel gangs or opponents from areas that you have a majority in, because each country does start out with a rebel faction, and these do increase throughout the game, and those are going to get in your way if they happen to get more of their cubes there than you have, essentially relinquishing your control over that country, which then will limit some of the actions that you can perform. But when an event tile is drawn, an event card is going to be drawn from the event deck. And these can have all sorts of different effects, like adding more cards around the perimeter of the board, adding more rebel gangs onto the various countries, or even causing a famine. And when a famine occurs, players are going to be checking each country that has any followers on it, and then you're going to be removing any followers that exceed the amount of developments on that country +1. Which of the player's followers actually gets removed depends on who has control over that country. But if there is a tie, then all the players are going to be losing their followers equally, even if that means losing more than what you need to get under that threshold. At the end of the round, all the players' tokens would be used, so all the players get their tokens back, but then there's other effects that can happen as well, like adding more event tiles into the bag, which can make those happen more frequently, but then also you could potentially be adding more event cards shuffled into the deck, which can add some other possibilities. The game continues like this until one of the win conditions are met, and that's either controlling enough areas, having enough followers or developments on the board, or just getting enough points. Whenever you do this, you're actually going to be putting your win token into the bag, and if you still fulfill that win condition once that tile actually gets drawn, then you do win the game. And if this one sounds interesting to you, I'll have links in the description below.